Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to another Wild Rift video, and in today's video I'll be playing Orianna. So in the beginning part of the video I'm going to explain to you how to build Orianna. If you want to skip to the gameplay, timestamps in the description. However, I don't recommend you to skip because there is something, about this build that not many people know about. So let's get into the build. As you can see, first item, Tear of Goddess. What the hell is this, guys? Like, what am I doing? So you definitely need a Tear of Goddess as your first item. Like, Orianna has no energy. So you want to buy the Tear of Goddess, and I see a lot of people go for the Archangel Staff first item. And see, the thing is, I even see it in esports, but I don't recommend it. It's just, Archangel Staff gives you 35 ability power. Like what? 35 compared to Leandri's 70 ability power and all the damage that you get from the passive. And you won't even have the Seraph's Embrace in the early game. I don't understand why people go for this item. I really don't. I have tried it. I'm not just talking because I'm also talking out of me trying it as well. It's trash as your first item. You're gonna have 0 damage if you start with the Seraph's Embrace. So instead, you start with the Tear of Goddess and then straight up build the Leandris. See, let me tell you guys, one weakness is that Orianna is always gonna have in every single game with every single build, which is the first dragon. Orianna is always going to have a weakness in the first dragon because you're never supposed to just build a tier 1 a tier 3 item like Leandri's first, because you're not going to have any energy, right? And when you go for the Tear of Goddess and then the Leandri's, obviously you will not have a fully built tier 3 item before the first dragon. So, this is a thing that we'll talk about during the gameplay more, but keep that in mind for now. So you start with Tear of Goddess, then you build the Leandri's, and then after the Leandri's, you finish the Archangel Staff. You finish up the Tear of Goddess into the Archangel Staff, and then sooner or later, you'll have the Seraph's Embrace. See, this is when you actually want to build the Seraph's Embrace, not as your first item, as your second item. Because you're already gonna have a few, like a lot of Tear of Goddess stacks, and it's gonna be very easy to get the Seraph's Embrace. So, by the way, after Leandris, you really want to get tier 1 boots. Tier 1. Don't go for Ionian Boots of Lucidity yet. It is not worth it. You could much rather go for Boots of Speed and then immediately try to go for the Archangel Staff. And after you got your Archangel Staff, that's when you get the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, guys. Because then you'll have enough energy to spam your abilities. As your third item, you want to go for Rabadon's Death Cap. In every single situation of the game, you want to go for Rabadon's Death Cap. Even if you're against a few tanks, you still want to get Rabadon's Death Cap. This is just the most beautiful item on Orianna, guys. This item is going to give you the craziest amount of damage ever. Like, ever. You're going to get so much damage from this item. And, like, after the Rabadon, you have entered the late game Orianna. This is where you become super duper powerful, guys. And about the fourth item, this is wrong. You always go for the Void Staff. Even if you're against a squishy lineup, you just go for the Void Staff. Really, guys, because take a look at this. 40% magic penetration. In the late game, this is always worth it. Like when the enemies reach level 12 and 13 or something like that, they will already have like 50 magic resist just from nothing. And if the enemy has a tank who also built magic resist, the 40% is gonna shred right through it. So always build a Void Staff. And as your last item, actually you don't want to go for the Infinity Orb. You often want to go for the Green Book. Now, unless the enemy has 0 healing, which they really never do, there's always healing, then you can go for the Infinity Orb. But otherwise, guys, the Green Book is just gonna provide you more value than the, the Infinity Orb. It's often gonna provide you more value, especially on Orianna, because you can shoot your balls it's one ball, you only have one ball. You can shoot your ball on so many enemies at the same time. Your second ability deals a lot of damage to a lot of enemies, your ultimate, everything. So that's why the Green Book is amazing on Orianna. As your enchantment, Stasis Enchant. When enemies dive you, you have no escape. So all you can do is use the Stasis Enchant to survive. And you always want to get the Stasis Enchant, always. As my first rune, I actually always go for Conqueror. Now, I see some people go for Electrocute. I see some people go for Phase Rush. I want to say Electrocute is not worth it. It's just... no, it's not worth it because Orianna is not a burst heavy champion, guys. It's true that with Electrocute, you can do like nice burst damage in your lane, but that's not the point of Orianna, guys. The point of Orianna is dealing a lot of damage in those elongated team fights, which Conqueror is going to do for you. See, where is it? The Phase Rush is actually an interesting rune on Orianna. I don't fully recommend it, but it can be good against champions that want to dive you. like Katarina. Against Katarina, I would actually always run the phase rush, guys, because let's say the Katarina tries to dive you. When you hit her with 3 separate attacks, you're gonna get that movement speed, which is gonna allow you to dodge the daggers from the Katarina. So when you're against these types of champions that can like dive you and you want to avoid them, phase rush is going to be a game changer, guys. But otherwise, just go for the Conqueror. It's just way better. As my second rune, I would say I always go for Gathering Storm. I mean, sometimes I go for Brutal. And see, the point with Brutal is really surviving the early game. With Gathering Storm, you're going to be incredibly weak in the early game and you should just avoid fights at all costs when you have Gathering Storm. You're just gonna have 0 damage, so keep that in mind for picking Gathering Storm. But when you get to like 15 plus minutes into the game, oh, this one is gonna give you a lot of ability power. This one is gonna be real damn strong. As your third rune, it depends on the enemy. Hunter Titan is really good if they have a lot of stuns. If you're against a Twisted Faith, you always go for Hunter Titan, by the way, always, because in the laning matchup, it's gonna reduce his stun. Bone Plating is really good against champions like Evelynn, Lee Sin, these champions that have heavy burst damage, Zed as well. When you're against heavy burst damage champions, go for Bone Plating. Adaptive Carapace is also interesting if you feel like you need it. I don't go for it. I just almost always go for Hunter Titan personally, because if the enemies have stuns, they're not going to be able to lock me down. As your fourth rune, Sweet Tooth, because it's a broken rune. See, Mana Flow Band might be interesting if you don't want to build Seraph's Embrace, but it's not really worth it because it's not enough. Like 300 mana is not going to be enough for you, so that's why I don't go for it. As your spells, Flash and Barrier. So enough about this, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, on to the gameplay. So let's immediately already talk about how to play Orianna. So you start with the I don't know what it's called, the mana item, the mana item. And as you can see, whenever I get my ball, my first ability, I just shoot it. I shoot it right in front of me. And the reason that I do it is if you take a look over there, guys, you can see the 15 stacks of Tear of Goddess. You want to start stacking immediately when the game starts, guys. Immediately, you just want to stack up the mana, because when you get the Archangel Staff, it's gonna turn into a Seraph's Embrace ASAP. And when you get that power spike, you have entered the mid game Orianna. See, early game Orianna, garbage, and another time garbage. Right now, this is perhaps the worst, definitely one of the worst early game champions. Maybe the worst, not so sure. Maybe it's the worst. Like, you're literally gonna deal 0 damage. As you can see, my ball is dealing like maybe like 4% of the HP of Ahri damage, which is obviously nothing. When you reach full build Orianna, that same ball is gonna deal 50% of her damage. 50, maybe even 60%. That's how Orianna works, guys. Early game, you're trash. Here, look at this. It's nothing. You literally won't do any damage. But all you gotta do, really, all you gotta do on Orianna is farm the hell up. You need to power farm yourself so incredibly hard to get to that late game as fast as possible. So what I recommend to you with ganking on Orianna is you often don't want to gank unless you really feel like you're gonna get a kill. You don't really want to take a risk by going to a lane and maybe I can gank, maybe I cannot. You really only want to rotate on Orianna if you really feel like you can do something. So if you can help your jungler, if you can help your laners, and help laners by getting a kill, of course, you don't want to rotate for nothing. And keep that in mind when playing Orianna, guys. And also, what I also recommend is when you get that 1200 gold, go back. Get that tier 2 damage item and get the Tear of Goddess. This is gonna be your first minor power spike, right? Like when you can go back at this moment, do it. Like, I would always recommend you to do it unless you would lose farm for it, of course. Because right now, I am already, a little stronger right now because I have some ability power. As you can see that? My combination is actually dealing like 10% of her HP, which is obviously not a lot. But it's more significant than only like 4%, right? So keep that in mind. Whenever you get that 1200 gold, or was it 1300? I'm not so sure. You can just go back into the video and see. Go back, get those 2 items that I mentioned, and deal some damage, right? So let's take a look at this. I'm just farming, just chilling in my lane, spamming my abilities so I get the Tear of Goddess. Keep that in mind. You wanna Keep using your abilities over and over again. Even if it's useless, just use it. You know, just use your abilities, because why the hell not? To stack up those mana stacks. So here you can see, I'm looking at the top lane, and here I am actually seeing an opportunity to gank. I see the Lux, who's pretty low. I see the Jarvan. I'm not gonna kill Jarvan probably, but the Lux. So take a look at this. I focus the Lux with my ultimate, second ability, basic attack, and yes, I got the kill. This is huge. When you can get a kill like this on Orianna, it is absolutely huge. This is what's gonna allow you to get to that late game Orianna super fast. See, normally you're not really gonna get a kill like that. It's like pretty lucky. I mean, for me it was not lucky because I had map awareness. I was looking at my map and I saw a vulnerable target like Lux, who was at like 30% HP. So I just all-in'd her and I killed her. So as I said, that's what you can do on Orianna. Pay attention to your map, and when you can gank someone, when someone is really low, used up his flash. Here, I looked at the bot side of the map and I was like, nah, I'm never gonna kill a Garen from 50% HP, right? So I didn't even bother ganking. What I did instead is push the wave, you know, make sure I get that farm and get some gold. That's what I'm doing. So always pay attention to your map, take a look at what you can do and what you cannot do. Because trust me guys, Orianna doesn't do any damage in the early game. So you're only going to be able to kill a squishy target from like 30%. Here, this is really smart. My team is fighting and I can actually help here. This is a moment where I can actually help. Ooh, I actually almost got hit by that. That was kind of scary. So here I throw it on the Jarvan and the Ahri, used my ultimate. I did a beautiful combination, but no damage guys. And as I said, this is the problem of Orianna. You're just not gonna deal any damage. Here. They are so low, but I cannot kill them. I went on him, he flashed away. Look at how low they all are. Everyone is so low. Oh no, Ahri. I got one kill. No, just look at this. This is what I mean with you deal 0 damage. All the enemies were super low. Imagine if I had something like an Ahri, you know, or a Zed or something. Zed would have literally killed every single one of them. Like here, you can see how little damage I'm doing, but I just got 2 more kills. See, this is what I mean with Conqueror, guys. Conqueror Orianna is the way to go. Because if I did not have Conqueror in this game, I would have genuinely dealt 0 damage there. Like actually 0 damage. Because all that damage that I dealt, which was not a lot by the way, was amplified by Conqueror. Like if I didn't have the Conqueror, I would have dealt even lower damage. Keep that in mind, guys. That's why I really recommend you to get a Conqueror. Because especially in the early game and mid game, you're going to be fighting for longer fights. It's true that in the late game, you're going to be doing more poking than fighting. But in the late game, you don't need a rune anymore. Because you're already powerful enough. Like here, you can see, in the early game, I'm going to be able to stack up that Conqueror. And this is what's ultimately going to allow me to actually deal some damage at least. So I actually got caught in the Jarvan ultimate. I'm just dead. You know, they did a beautiful combination. These enemies did a beautiful, beautiful combination. Jarvan plus Lux just killed both of us, right? Fair. That was kind of fair. They just won that fight. They completely outplayed us. We couldn't really do anything about that, unfortunately. And here the team goes in, while they shouldn't have. And yeah, we lose the dragon. I mean, yeah, we just lose the dragon. It's okay. You know, when you're playing Orianna, it's actually okay to lose a dragon like that. It's just you want to focus on farming. The dragon is actually pretty low. Oh, we didn't get it, unfortunately. But here's an opportunity to get some kills, actually. We got the Garen. We got this guy, which is really, really nice. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put pressure on the mid lane. Because the enemies are running away right now. And I can put pressure on the mid lane. I can push all the minions up, so the enemy already loses farm. And I can also deal some damage to the turret, right? It's like all good. So take a look at this. Pushing the wave, taking the honey fruit, pushing the turret. You know, I'm just power farming myself. You need to be very selfish when you play Orianna, guys. You don't need to think about your teammates. Screw your team. Only think about yourself when you're playing Orianna. Here, like, my team is fighting on the top side of the map. I don't care. I'm just gonna take the turret for myself. I am gonna get super ahead for myself, and I can get the Archangel staff, guys. And look at the Tear of Goddess stacks. 625. So whenever I get the Archangel staff in like half a minute or something, or maybe a minute, I'll have the Seraph's Embrace already. And that's what I mean with you don't want to get Seraph's Embrace first item. Because it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Like the Archangel staff is an absolute garbage item. And obviously the Seraph's Embrace is pretty good, you know, for defensive stats. Here you can see I already have my Seraph's Embrace. I just bought it and I already have it. And that's how you want to build Orianna, guys. Like right now I am actually pretty powerful. Not very powerful, but pretty powerful. Oh, of course if I get caught like this I'm gonna get wrecked. Yeah, horrible. Horrible positioning. Seraph's Embrace saved me, but this was just absolutely horrible. Like, my team did a horrible play by going for the Rift Herald. They took a fight that they could not win. And then I did horrible positioning too by going too far. See, when you're playing Orianna, you really want to pay attention to the enemy CC champions. And in this scenario, it's Lux and Ahri. I got hit by the Ahri charm and I got hit by the Lux root. Obviously, I'm gonna die. What I should have done is I should have mainly paid attention to the Lux and the Ahri and, like, you know, stayed away from them. I don't want to get close to these champions. So here I was just giving some words of encouragement to my team, right? Because we actually made some pretty big mistakes. We lost the dragon, we lost the Rift Herald, we died. It was just, you know, pretty bad. We kind of gave the enemies a comeback. So I just told my team, you know, guys, it's okay. Let's avoid these fights from now on. We have me on Orianna. We have Evelyn. These are both extreme late game champions. We are going to be fine in the late game, guys. You know, you have to look at your composition and the enemy composition. Take a look at your comp and the enemy comp and decide, okay, can we win late game? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then it's okay to like leave objectives to the enemy and just get to the late game. If the answer is no and you have to win in the early game, then it's not okay. You want to put pressure on the enemy. You know, you want to put pressure on them and fight them. So in our case, we don't want to put pressure on them. Our composition is super duper strong in the late game. It's an absolute powerhouse late game composition. And here, yet again, we're just dying for no damn reason. This is stupid. So here, I had a really good ultimate actually. And we're taking a winning fight here because it's a 4 versus 3. We saw that the Xayah was in the mid lane, so that's why we took this fight. And it's going okay, as you can see. The fight is definitely going okay. We're getting some nice kills here. This is really, really nice. Yeah. See, the reason that we won this fight is because the Xayah was in the mid lane. If you had looked at the map, you could have seen that the Xayah was in the mid lane and we won that fight easy. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying these mid lane videos, give the video a like. You know, if this video reaches, let's say, 1,000 likes, I'll just make like 2 more mid lane videos this week. You know, so if you're enjoying the mid lane videos, give the video a like. Also, what am I gonna ask you to put in the comments? It's gonna be a good one. I need to think about it. I need to think about it. And if I don't come up with anything, you know, just yeah, say something funny. Because it's always good for the algorithm and blah 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 to put a comment under the video. Yeah. Basically, if you want to support the channel, you can put down a comment. That's how it works. So take a look at my positioning here, guys. Take a look at my positioning. Staying all the way back in the team. I'm not going too close. Oh, and a beautiful ultimate. Oh my god, did you see that? Oh, that ultimate just completely demolished them. Oh, that is what Orianna ult can do, guys. This is what Orianna can do. If the enemy stays close to each other, your ultimate is like the best ability ever. It's really, really good. So you can use your ultimate and then your second ability as well to deal insane amounts of damage. That's basically the combination that you want to do. You don't want to use... wait, let me explain. You don't want to use your second ability before your ultimate. Let me explain to you why. So you may think that your second ability is going to slow the enemies and then it's going to be easy to hit your ult. But let me explain. So it's true that your second ability is going to slow the enemies, but the enemies are going to do their very best to run out of that slow. And your ultimate has like a 1 second delay. And 1 second is more than enough for the enemies to escape from your second ability. So that's why you don't want to use your second ability before the ultimate. It's just not good. It's not going to be good. They can escape it. So you could much rather just shoot your balls at the enemy. And hello, my boy. Yeah? You could much rather just shoot your balls at the enemy. And then after your ultimate, when they're already hit, right, you can use your second ability to deal even more damage. That's what you want to do. So here we got the Baron. And for some reason the Singe died. I have no idea why. What we should do is put pressure on the enemies. And look at over this. Look at this, guys. Rabadon's death cap. And yes, this is the massive power strike. This is where you enter late game Orianna. And you will feel it, like you will really feel it when you get the Rabadon. So your playstyle changes now. It shifts from like sustain Orianna to more of a poke Orianna, because right now your poke damage is actually kind of insane. So when you shoot your ball at the enemy and use your second ability, you're going to be dealing a lot of damage, like a lot of damage. So what used to be sustain before, you know, like basic attacking the enemy, using your ball, now you can actually stay in the back line and all you can do is just poke the enemy and go back. You don't want to risk, like, oh god, this is horrible. Yeah, I used Stasis Enchant. I had to flash out because my positioning was horrible. So take a look at this. Just look at how much damage I'm dealing from the back line. Here. Boom! Did you see that? Like 30% of Lux's HP. That's how crazy my damage is right now. And as I said, this is what happens when you get the Rabadon's death cap. At this point, you should generally be able to carry the game. Like if you haven't completely lost the game up until now, you should be able to carry the game, because you're going to be out damaging most mid laners. Pretty much every single mid laner, except for like a fat Katarina or a fat Diana, for example. But as I said, if you're not super behind, you should be able to hard carry the game at this point. You should be. And here, take a look at what I'm doing here. I'm farming. I am not going back. I'm farming. And this is what you want to do as well on Orianna. You want to power farm. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, you want to power farm as much as you can. And when you get that Rabadon's death cap, you're going to be able to clear out jungle camps super duper fast as well. So if you're in the enemy jungle, you can just clear them out super fast as well. And do it, right? When you're running away, just clear the jungle as well to get even more gold. So I'm almost level 14. I'm super duper duper ahead in this game. And that's all because of all the farming that I've done. And my team fighting was really good as well. But the mistake that I made in this game was the 2 deaths. You know, the first death was a mistake. I overextended. And the second death was actually a pretty big mistake. Where that was the one at the Rift Herald. Yeah, where I went way too far. I did not pay attention to their CC champions. And that's how you die on Orianna, guys. In the late game, you can still lose, obviously. And the way that you can lose is if you don't pay attention to the enemy assassins and their CC. But especially the CC. Because Seraph's Embrace should be able to take care of assassins because of the lifeline passive that it gives you, right? It gives you like a tiny shield when you get when you become low HP, which buys you a little bit of time, right? And right now, I got the Void Staff, and guys, this is when you become like like a machine. You're not Orianna anymore. You're a machine. Your second ability is basically gonna deal like 40% of the enemy's HP of the squishies, of course. Of the tanks, you're not going to be able to shred as much as you can see, but still. Oh, did you see that Ahri? Ahri is already at like 30% HP, all because of my second ability. And this is what I'm talking about. You can just poke them and you'll deal an insane amount of damage. If the Garen dives me, I will completely demolish him with the damage as well. Orianna is actually a good anti-Garen pick as well, you know, because you just do so much damage, especially when you get that Void Staff. See, what Orianna is not good against is assassins. Even though I told you that Seraph's Embrace could potentially save you against assassins, it does not always save you, guys. Assassins can actually completely demolish Orianna before you can even do anything. So champions like Evelynn, Fizz especially, oh, Fizz is so annoying to deal with as an Orianna. They can just assassinate you, right? Your balls are not going to be dealing enough sustained damage against them. So you are going to get assassinated by them. And your Seraph's Embrace is not going to be enough for that. So keep that in mind when playing Orianna. Also, heavy CC champions. Heavy CC champions could be annoying for Orianna to deal with as well. Like I said, Twisted Faith could be annoying. But you should just go for the Hunter Titan. And you should be fine in the late game. Because the 20% tenacity should be enough to allow you to deal with them, right? Also, as you can see, if the Ahri dives me, it's annoying to deal with the charm. But yet again, Hunter Titan is gonna be your biggest friend here. So keep that in mind. You really need that Hunter Titan rune against CC. You really need it on Orianna. So right now, level 14, you know, I'm continuing to farm because I can get one more item. And when you get full build on Orianna and level 15, the game is over, right? Like at this point, the only way to lose the game is if your entire team just completely throws the game. And, you know, that shouldn't happen. You just have to tell your team, guys, relax. I got this game. I can carry the game. Just let me poke them. because the damage that you're going to be dealing is out of this world. No one is going to be able to out damage you in the longer fight. Jinx is not. Well, maybe Ziggs actually. Nah, not even Ziggs. If you get full build with Orianna, not even Ziggs is going to out damage you. Really not. Because you're just going to deal an absurd amount of damage. So let's take a look. I'm really curious what's going to happen during the next fight. Here, Xayah at 50% HP already. Did you see that? That's what I mean. Yeah, and the Evelyn is also fat. You know, they just cannot win anymore. They cannot win anymore. If I just deal enough damage to them, they're not going to be able to win. Yeah, Varus as well. Everyone. See, this game is over. There is just no way that we should win this game. We should lose this game anymore. And we just killed all of them. So, yeah, we should. I think we finished the game here. I'm not so sure actually. Yeah, we should be finishing the game here. And I really hope you learned how to play Orianna in this video, because it's actually not easy. You know, I was actually playing so badly with Orianna many games in a row. But I've learned how to play her now, and I've taught you how to play her now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Now let's take a look at the damage and everything else. Of course I got S tier. I mean, if I didn't get S tier after that game, what would I have gotten? 35,000 damage. So yeah, I carried my team. So thank you so much for watching the video, and I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video.